What is a startup? Isn't it just a regular business? That's a question I get a lot. In this video, I'm going to explain what a startup is and how it's different from any other regular business or a lifestyle business. And no, it's not the same as a regular business. Startups are very, very different. This is Raw Startup. I'm the founder of Vivino, the world's largest wine app and wine community with almost 60 million users all over the world. I've been on this journey for a long time and I've seen what a startup is all the way up to a scale-up. We'll look at the 4 characteristics of a startup, and the final one is very important, so stay tuned for that one. First, let's look at the differences between a startup and a traditional business. Basically, most businesses are just traditional businesses, not startups. They are lifestyle businesses that make a good living for whoever is involved. Startups are something else, and that's what we're going to look at in this video. The fundamental difference between a startup and any other business is how much you invest in the business in the beginning. Let's first take a look at a regular business. On the horizontal axis, we have time, and on the vertical axis, we have how much money is invested in the business, or should I say lost in the early stages. For a regular business, you do expect to lose a bit of money in the beginning as you invest in the business, but you quickly move into making money, or you just won't survive. Then if it all goes well, you see steady growth over time. Great. You make a good living and we're all happy. Now, a startup is different. It's like an extreme of a regular business. We expect to invest and lose massive amounts of money before we reach a profit. And this could be years and years of building before any money comes back. So why would you take that risk? Well, because the upside is massive. The line for growth and profit is much more steep than in a regular business. Should you make it, you could make it really, really big. I would say for a startup, investors also see it differently. The loss at the beginning is more seen as an investment, and then later, when the profit comes, hopefully, that's the return on that investment. Now, there's one more thing on this. Now, take a look at the graph again. If you look at the beginning there, where you see the massive loss, that part has a specific name, and it's not a pretty name. The Valley of Death. And yes, it does have that name for a reason. This is where a lot of startups die, in the Valley of Death. All this money is invested, but for some reason, it really doesn't take off. The startup dies in the Valley of Death. Yes, I know, not exactly uplifting. Anyway, with those basics in place, let's have a look at the 4 characteristics of a startup. A startup usually raises a lot of money, or at least tries to raise a lot of money. So why is that? Well, because you usually have to build something first. You have to invest in building something, and then later you can sell it. But you need funding to build it. Basically, some technology, some software has to be built, and you need to raise a lot of money to be able to build that before you can sell it. Take Vivino as an example. We have an app that is free, but I guarantee you it wasn't free to build it. We have hundreds of employees that built this product. Built a free app that everyone uses for free. If it's all free, why did smart people invest money into it? Because they believe that we can build something great with millions of users on it, and down the line, it'll be very valuable, and then they make their money back. Sometimes it's called a land grab. Build something great and win the market. You invest a lot of money, win the market, and then you own it. Take Facebook as an example. They invested massive amounts of money into winning that market. They did. And later, they became very, very profitable. As a lot of startups fail, the investors will need big returns on their investment. They aim for at least 10 times the money back. And you think, that's kind of greedy. But really it isn't. It's because investing in startups is a risky business. And let me explain that in a simple way. Let's take a very simplified look at that. Let's say you invest $1 million in 10 different startups. The investors actually expects 5 of them to fail, so no return on those. 3 get the money back and 1 does okay and gives the money back twice. And 1 does really well and actually gets the money back 10 times. In this scenario, the investor gets 15 million back out of the 10 million invested in. You think that's okay. But really, that can take years of work, so it's actually a more mediocre investment. The investors really need to aim for, say, 10x, because some of the investments will be bad investments. Now let's try and do that again, but remove the one startup that did really well. Now it's a horrible investment with a loss of 50%. So yes, it is a risky investment, and you have to hit some of the big ones. Obviously, you can go in the other direction, and you hit one that gives you 100x back. So that can happen in startups, and that's what makes it an attractive investment. Sometimes the upsides are huge. A startup usually disrupts an industry. Startups are usually based on some kind of disruption. Let's have a look at what that means. Here are the 3 stages of disruption. Stage 1, a shift in technology, legislation, or behavior. Basically, something changes radically, usually in technology, and that changes everything. Stage 2, the industry doesn't follow shift. The industry doesn't follow the shift. They prefer to do it like they've always done it. And yes, That happens all the time. And then there's stage 3. A new product comes along that solves the problem considerably better. And finally, a startup comes along, disrupts it all, changes how we do things. It's almost always some kind of disruption that leads to a startup success. I have a full video on startup disruption. Please check that out. Also, a lot of good stuff on the channel. You should consider subscribing. A startup usually grows fast. In the early days of a startup can grow, several 100% per year. And in the later stages, maybe in the high tens. For the investors, this is very important. They expect to get a return on their investment within a few years, and slow growth doesn't do that. For the founders, this is also important because the growth very often determines can you raise money and at what value. With little growth, it can be really hard to raise money, so be aware of that. Growth is key for a startup, and if the growth slows down, you're probably not a startup anymore. A startup usually is scalable. This is key for a startup. It has to be scalable. You really need something that can be sold many times. You invest in something, build it, and then you can sell it over and over again. Let's say you're in consulting and you work very, very hard and you charge by the hour. No matter how hard you work, there are only 24 hours in a day, and that by definition is not scalable. On the other hand, you have a computer game like Subway Surfers. They build the game once, but the users keep downloading it with little or no extra cost per downloads. Subway Surfers now has over 2 billion downloads. There's infinite scale. They can keep selling without any extra cost. Now that's scale for you. So scalability is about building something that can be sold again and again. Like a piece of software or some other service you can sell 1,000,000 times, but with very little extra cost for every unit sold. Being scalable also means being in a big market. You can't build something scalable, then the market is too small. Investors do not like small markets. There has to be a huge opportunity. Let's take a look at the full list of what startups usually are. If you're all of this, you're probably a startup. If you're none of these, you're not a startup. You're a traditional business, which is great too. It is important to know what you are though. If you're not a startup, you should probably not be raising a lot of money from venture capitalists. Maybe from venture capitalists that think you are a startup. If you want more content just like this, please consider pressing like and subscribe, and you won't miss any future videos. Thank you very much for watching Raw Startup. Now stop watching, go build something.